Young Money again takes over the #1 spot. I mean, go figure. Like I said earlier, 3 wins on the year. Cliff Daniels, Kyle Larson, going to go down in NASCAR history as one of the best crew chief driver combinations ever. What's going on, y'all? I'm Brandon Atlanta Man Bang, coming to you live right here, Coach's Corner, the center of the universe. Another episode of Rubbin' and Grubbin'. Rubbin' is racing, grubbin' is tasting. Man, I hope everybody's having a good Wednesday night. Got some good stuff to go over, NASCAR news, a little recap over there at Sonoma. You know, those good old road course races, how I love them. If you're new to tuning into the show, the way we like to start it out is what we call the word of the day. So Lauren's going to throw a word up. Every time I say it, you're going to take a sip of your favorite adult beverage. I always like to say it's age appropriate. It's summertime, man. If you're under 21, get a Red Bull, sweet tea, something sweet, a lot of sugar, stay up late, give it hell, man. So this week's word is going to be, I have no idea, and I lost my sheet. Oh, I got you right here. Let me see what last week's word was, y'all. Last week's word was Sonoma, so headed in there. I mean, come on. Had to be a play along. Had to have a good little buzz going. So getting right into that NASCAR news, man. If you tuned in on Sunday, you saw it. Young Money takes another checkered flag, man. You know, third on the season, ties him up there with teammate William Byron and Denny Hamlin. I say it all the time. You can't count him out. Guy's got an enormous amount of talent. Now, wouldn't have been my first pick there at Sonoma, but he found a way to win it, man. So big congrats to old Young Money out there, and I think there's going to be a few more checkered flags in his future coming up for sure this season. Kyle Busch running a supercar race. Man, word on the street, it might happen. They've been in talks last year trying to make it happen. Supercar really wants a NASCAR star to come over and kind of do a one-off, but, I mean, what the hell? I don't know if they want Kyle Busch because he ain't won a damn race in 38 races, 34 races, longest winless streak of his career right there, man, which is something to be said. So, you know, at the end of the day, maybe his time passed him by. Come on, man. Getting a little bit older, you know, 38. Maybe his time passed him by. I don't know, man. We'll have to find out. But would be something cool to see. There again, I think some talents can carry over. But we'll see. I'll keep you posted, man. We'll see if it comes a little bit more fruition or it just stays where it's at. So SVG, man, I tell you what. Road course ace there. It doesn't play around. Chicago street course, turns around, wins an Xfinity race there at Sonoma. I mean, that was pretty much a favorite. There was only a couple guys to bet on that, if you ask me. And we'll tell you here in just a little bit if we did or not. But do I think he's ready for the Cup Series? This is my thing right here. In today's NASCAR Cup Series, you win and you're in. So now with Chargers up for sale, we know Trackhouse, Front Row, 2311. Those are the contenders for 3 of the 4 there at Stewart-Haas. If you go and get a guy like SVG and you have 4 road course races a year or however many we have now, you know, Coda, Sonoma, Watkins Glen, the Roval, you've got a few good opportunities for a guy that's an ace to go out and win it. We saw him do it first start there at Chicago Street Course and won. So, you know, if you're looking on banking to get another car into the playoffs, yeah, it could be a really good turnout, could be a really good deal. Now, there again, I think he's got a long way to grow when it comes to, you know, the normal NASCAR schedule, the mile and a half, the super speedways. He's got a long way to go, especially in the Cup Series. When you hear guys that have been veterans of the sport and gone through multiple generations of cars going, hey, this one's really hard to drive, that should tell you something. So we'll see what happens, but does he go to Trackhouse next year full time? I don't know. We'll see who else is available. Silly season is going to be wild this year. There's a lot of big names coming up. A lot of big rides going to be opening up. We'll see who goes where, and I think it all comes down to sponsorship. If he has the sponsorship that's down to back him, or Trackhouse does, and willing to deal with a guy that might not finish good every week but have a potential to win maybe 1-2 races a year, you know, it's a good deal. So we'll just have to wait and see what they do and how it goes down. But at the end of the day, that'd be a negative for me. If you haven't yet, y'all, go out, like, share, follow, all that social media, man. Lawrence does a great job. I have nothing to do with it. You can follow us on Instagram, X, formerly known as Twitter, Facebook. But most of all, go out, subscribe to that YouTube channel, y'all. There again, giving away this Alex Bowman replica helmet. You know, somebody's got to win it. So if you're new, make sure you throw on there hashtag Alex or Showman Bowman. Let us know you're new to subscribing. But by the end of the year, somebody's getting it, whether Alex Bowman wins a race or we're going to come up with something else here in the next, we'll say, month. We get down to October and it's not gone yet. Alex Bowman hadn't won. We're getting ready to get rid of it, man. So you guys make sure you tune in and subscribe to that. As I always say, more eyes we get on the show, hopefully the more eyes we get to the charitable events we do on Rubbing and Grubbing with Checkered Flag for Charity, but also Coach's Corner in general, man. So Corey LaJoy, man, coming with a new little sponsorship there when we go to Iowa this week. Got the University of Iowa Hawkeyes, man. They're on there. He's repping it out. So cool little paint scheme for him. If you haven't yet, make sure you go check it out. We'll see what Corey can do, man. Had a pretty good run there at Sonoma. I think 11th, top 12 anyways, 11th. So that's not a bad run for that Spire 7 car. And we'll see if he can keep the momentum rolling in the right direction, but be on the lookout. Hawkeyes paint scheme in Iowa, baby. Who knows, It could be the day. So last night, man, marked the end of an era. And I don't know who tuned in and watched it, but I did. I watched it, and I watched everything going on after. Yeah, been a staple of the sport for a long time. Race Hub's last episode, y'all. So we'll see what gets cranked up new and what's going to be happening if we find something, a new little show that cranks it in and takes that spot. But just got to give a big shout out and thank you to everybody that's ever been involved in that show. I mean, just so many years of keeping us up to date on everything NASCAR, and great guests and great insight to what the sport really is and what it really means. So hats off to them. Everything, all good things must come to an end, and unfortunately that one did last night. So congrats and thanks again, y'all. Charter Talk's going crazy, man. There's some drama going on in the mist in there with those charter talks. So a little bit more on this in just a bit, another segment of the show. We'll get to it, man. All right, getting into that Checkered Flag for Charity, man. And again, if you're new to tuning in, basically what we do is every time a car number wins and it's under Christopher Bell, we always donate that 20 in. We had the 5-car win. There it is right there. It's hiding from me. Another $20 go in, and I forgot. I totally skipped over it last week, y'all. There was $20 more added in because, who actually won that race too. So another 20 going in there, man. That brings the yearly total up to $1,367. Got to give a big thank you to everybody that came out to the Head Games Foreigner Tribute last weekend. It was a really good concert. I was here. Lawrence was here. A lot of folks from out there on Tybee were here. Raised almost $400 off that cooler, man. So not bad. I think we can do a little bit better. This weekend. I did. We did throw in a hundo, and all the folks out there, man. We got to get it how we can, man, and anything counts, and it all goes to a good cause. So help save one of our own, little local 501c3 we're donating into, man. They do some really good work in the Savannah area, taking care of, individual families or a charity in general. And I tell you what, good group, great stand-up people. It's one of John Henderson's favorite charities to pull for here and raise money for. So we thought, why don't we go ahead and jump on board. Again, almost another $400 raised on that cooler. Nothing going on this weekend, but I tell you what, next weekend is going to be a huge show. You heard it. We'll talk about it more in a little bit. So if you plan on coming out of the Sound Garden, make sure you bring a little bit of extra money. I'll have a cooler set up. We'll be throwing it down. Maybe even a little coach's swag in this one, something a little special. And before we get into July 4th weekend, that Yacht Club concert, if you guys are looking for a little July 4th package, I will have a nice little pyrotechnic package up here we'll be throwing down with that cooler. So it will be a good one. But at the end of the day, make sure you're coming out to the best place for live music in Savannah, Coach's Corner Sound Garden, baby. So getting ready to get into that who's hot and who's not, but before we do, got to give a big shout out to my main man, Parker Eccles over there, owner-operator of Arborman Tree Service, the best tree service in Savannah, locally owned, locally operated, fully insured, doesn't matter what it is, full tree removal, stump grinding, limbs getting cut back. Man, we're in hurricane season. You guys better go ahead and tighten up them trees around your house, man, because who knows, this year could be the year. It could be our turn. We could be due. Why get caught? Last thing you want's a pine tree or something through your house. You might as well go ahead and get Parker a call, Arborman. Let him take care of it, baby. So as I always like to say, no job too big, too small. Get Parker a call, baby. I love you, man. So getting into the who's not, man. Young Money again takes over the #1 spot. Go figure. Like I said earlier, 3 wins on the year. Cliff Daniels, Kyle Larson, going to go down in NASCAR history as one of the best crew chief driver combinations ever. Now, I'm not going to hate on it here, but let's just say that doesn't stick around and they split. Then we're really going to see what it's all about, right? I say the same thing about Jimmy and Chad, right? Why mess it up if it works? And they never had to figure out if it did or didn't, right? But at the end of the day, I know some other good ones that went through a lot of crew chiefs and still won championships in a lot of races. So we'll see what happens there. Hopefully they don't. Hopefully they keep it together and keep rolling, man. He's getting ready to be one of the top 3 winningest drivers at Hendrick Motorsports of all time, which, you know, when you go back through history, there's really only about 2 other ones that he's got to beat. And my man's on the top, Gordon, you know, maybe not the championships, baby, but maybe not championships, but race wins. He's got that one. So, you know, he'll be there. He'll be there. Chase ain't far behind either, man. So come on, Chase. I need you to tighten up, baby. I need you to go. Come on, man.
Come on, man.
I need that 9 car to win some races, man. Second, I just mentioned him, Chase the Bulldog Elliott, baby. I tell you what, you go back, the man has not finished outside the top 20 all season long. You want to talk about consistency? You better go take a look at those points. He's not far behind with 1 win. The man is doing his thing. If he gets hot at the right time here coming into those playoffs, those last 10 races, we could be talking about a 2-time champion over there from Dawsonville, Georgia, baby. That's what I'm talking about, the Bulldog. So I'll take him second. Obviously, I'm a little biased. You know, it's my favorite driver. But I think he's going to win at least 2 more races. I need him to win 3 more so I get my $100 back from Harrington. But at the end of the day, I'll say at least 2 more before the season's over. 3, Lawrence is going to like this one. I'll go ahead and throw it in because I'm going to say a cuss word, Ford. Ford is heating up, man. A couple cars inside that top 3 there. You know, they're looking strong, and me and Lawrence talked about this last week. I think Penske has a lot to do with that. I think that after we get past the Indy 500, it's like, okay, we shift gears. We're not even worried about NASCAR until we get into the, you know, after the Indy 500, man. But they've got it turned around. I think they're finally hitting on something. Now, we'll see as a whole if they can go out and win some more races. You know, the Penske or RFK go out and get a few more wins on the year. But right now they're starting to heat up and doing good. I mean, we could see one in victory lane here at Iowa coming up on Sunday. Who knows, man? So getting into that who's not, and I hate to say it, no, I don't. Who am I kidding, man? Kyle Busch. Kyle Busch, the candy man, is so cold. 3 Chai Kai over there at RCR. I think he might even retire. He might pull a car over, get so pissed off, he's just like, I'm done, man. This is horrible. You know, it's kind of a different role that he's filling there at RCR than what he did at Gibbs. Gibbs, we know, is go out and win, you know, set on kill all the time. We saw him do it for so long. I mean, what a great career. If it ended today, it's one of the best to go down in the modern era. Definitely the 2010s plus of NASCAR. You know, 63, 64 wins, couple championships in the Cup Series. I mean, he's on fire. But he's on the coal list, man. Horrible season going on for him. Much needed top 5, top 10 finish there, and it just didn't come to fruition, which we'll talk about a little bit later. But at the end of the day, he's got to get tightened up. He's got to get some things rolling, baby. Austin Dillon again.
Rubbing is racing and grubbing is tasting.
I think he's done this year, next year, one of these years in the near future. He's done. I mean, there's a lot of young talent that's coming out this year. I really think it might be the year that you got to switch gears and you really got to get it figured out. I mean, I know it's family, I know it's this, I know it's that, I know sponsorship follows them, but there's a lot of young kids coming in that's got a lot of sponsorship too that I'm not going to say has as much talent as Austin. Austin's won some big races in his career, not many, but he's won some big ones. But I think there's some talent that's ready to roll, so we'll see what happens there. But at the end of the day, on the coal list, and as always, y'all, NASCAR STDs, EV, electric vehicles, and mufflers. Come on, we can't be talking about that with NASCAR, y'all. So getting into the Sonoma recap, man, I'll tell you what, this is one of the best road course races, better road course races I've seen over the last few years. You know, last year's race at Sonoma was pretty good too. This one was really good. We had a lot of strategies. I'm glad we took glad we took them out for a while, but put the stages back into road course racing. It built for a lot of strategy in the way the cautions fell, which we did have a few, which thankful, because the race didn't end in an hour and 45 minutes or 2 hours and 10 minutes. But a lot of strategy got played by a lot of different teams, and you know, it worked out for some and it didn't work out for others. And I think that's when we come down to talking road course racing and NASCAR. That is something that's got to be a staple. We can't have everybody on the same strategy and like we do on an oval, or you know, you might have a few one-offs or pit now and don't pit later, and it sets us up for later in the run. I mean, that's what it's all about. But really good racing. I love the concrete barrier that we added, and there's no driving through the cones or over the rumble strips anymore. I love that. I think that paid dividends. I think it showed that you had to have discipline, can't dive bomb in the way that we used to. So at the end of the day, I think it worked out pretty good. As I mentioned, Young Money found a way to come back. I think he was, like 5 seconds back at one point in time, Lawrence said. I don't know, under 20 to go, 25 to go, 23 to go, 17, something around in there. At the end of the day, found a way to come back on that strategy, pull, get the lead, and never look back, which, I mean, hey, it worked out good for him this time. Definitely wouldn't have been my number one pick and wasn't on a road course. That's just how it is. I'm not taking anything away from Kyle Larson. I just know it's not exactly his forte. But he found a way to win it. And I tell you what, strategy, that's a hats off and nod to the team, not only the pit crew, but the crew chief, Cliff Daniels, on that box for playing them into that strategy and having it set up. So good win there for Young Money again. I hate it for Truex, another guy that seemed to be having a consistent season and, I mean, just can't get over the hump. Thought he was going to finish second, third at worst, and ran out of gas, man, coming to the checkered. And I think it was a bigger ovation for him finishing the race than it was for Kyle Larson winning the race. Went from second to 28th place finish, and he crept by the line, but he did finish it. So hats off to Truex. We'll see if they can get it turned around. Maybe it's the, tale of two tapes, man. We had it last year where he seemed like he was dominating as far as consistency went, won the regular season, and then just fell off in the playoffs. Maybe this year he makes the playoffs and gets hot. I mean, who knows? It could be his last year. Another big seat. I think that's possibly going to be the best seat to fill at the end of this year if he decides to retire, which I think the writing's on the wall. I think he will from full-time competition. That's a big seat to fill. So we'll see what happens there. We'll see who jumps in. I think there's a couple names we'll talk about next week. I think that'll definitely fit in over there at JGR. But at the end of the day, we'll see if he can make it into the playoffs, man, which he should have no problem doing, and we'll see if he can get hot at the right time. So I do want to give a big shout out, man. 38 and the 7 of Corey LaJoie. Like I said, 38, man, found a way to come in 10th, top 10 run. And I tell you what, he's had some good runs for that equipment there. For sure, and Corey LaJoie, again, getting a top 12 finish in 11th, right outside the top 10. Pays dividends not only for sponsorship, but also, that morale, team morale heading into the hot months. We know it's going to get very heated inside that race car. Iowa, I don't know the temps up there right now, but probably going to be a little warmer. But once we start making our way back down here, it's going to be warm. Those temps reach, 125, 135, 140 plus degrees sometimes inside that race car. And that's just ambient temp in the cab. That's not in that fire suit, fire retardant layers. That's a lot. It's very hot. So tempers are going to flare, man. Anybody that knows it, once you get hot, it tends to have a shorter fuse. So just want to give a big shout out to those guys for sure for those good runs. But again, all in all, not a bad race, not my favorite. Anybody that's watched the show knows road course racing is not my forte. I think, 2 to 4 a year. If we go 4, I say 2 staples, the Glen and Sonoma. The other 2 rotate about every 2 to 3 years. I think it'd be interesting. Take Coda off, take the Roval off, rotate them if that's what we're going to do. Open up Road America back, some other tracks that we want to go to. Open them back up, but they rotate. Couple years there and switch it up. Sonoma and Watkins Glen, those staple, but I'm still a guy that would only like to see 2 a year. So getting into that newer segment, like I said last week, I didn't really have anything to WTF about, but I do this week, and it's What the France, man, is what we call it. And at the end of the day, this is something that I kind of feel weird about, as I mentioned, the charter talk. So it's going back and forth, and, team ownership kind of teamed up and basically said, hey, look, we're going to all stick together. We're going to get what we want. It's all or nothing. We're going to band together as ownership. I think there's only 15 owners in NASCAR. Sounds just about right. And at the end of the day, that means a lot. These guys pump in a lot. They support the sport. They make the sport happen. I'm not saying NASCAR doesn't either. And it comes down to TV rights and how the money's going to be split. Now, there's been talks of NASCAR owning charters. There's been talks of NASCAR owning the charter. Now, I don't know if that means they'll own the team outright and NASCAR will have a team involved in the sport, or if that means they just own the rights to the charter and they're going to lease it out to ownership. But at the end of the day, that's some bullshit. Pardon my language, but at the end of the day, it really is. I mean, when you look at it like this, that's kind of like the NFL buying into a franchise team in the NFL and going, okay, well, we'll lease it to you. I mean, or MLB team doing the same thing. No, you guys are an organization. You put on the sport. You own some tracks out there. You give them a place to race. You set up the venue and the event, and the team ownership shows up. I think it's just some BS. I think it's getting out of hand. I think basically NASCAR needs to give these owners really kind of what they want. At least give them more on their end than what they're trying to take away. They've had the cookie in their pocket for a long time and been eating a lot of that cracker and leaving crumbles. So at the end of the day, I think it's time to pay the piper. We're at a time and age where, streaming and digital watches over, the phone or over the laptop or anywhere being able to stream your NASCAR is coming in. I think the companies that want to support NASCAR in general as a sport are going to pay the money for those TV rights. It's time for NASCAR to pay out a little bit to ownership, at least for, however many years, and then we can readjust and reassess where we're at in the sport and how the split should be. But at the end of the day, no NASCAR-owned teams in NASCAR. That's just jacked up. So getting into this Iowa preview, y'all, but before we do, we're going to pause one last time. Station identification, Coach's Corner Sports Network. It's a little warm out here, man. We're getting into the summertime. It's a little warm. It's not too bad. Got a nice little breeze. Not as hot as day as what we're used to, but in July, it's getting warm up here, brother. I forgot what it's like to be out here in the summertime, but cheers, y'all.
Our bets are heating up, too.
Oh, our bets are heating up. We're going to get to that in just a minute. We're starting to get hot. That's what it is. So Iowa, I don't know. Who the hell knows, y'all? We ain't ever been here in the damn Cup Series. I have no idea what to tell you who's going to go out here and win. I mean, we can look at tracks that are similar, but is there really anything that's that similar? No. Can't change that much. I did throw a couple guys. Well, one guy up here I think that's going to run really good the next couple weeks, to be honest with you. But at the end of the day, should provide some really good action on track. I always love watching this race in lower series. Always performed a really good short track there up there. And on top of that, it's another geographical location that pulls some fans in that aren't used to seeing the Cup Series at all. So I think it's really going to put on a good show. I think we're going to see some, really good battles there. Interesting to see how it all plays out and who wins. So make sure you tune in on Sunday. And again, looking for the best place in the Savannah to come watch your NASCAR. There's only one home, baby, and that's Coach's Corner right here. So show up Sunday, turn up, turn out, NASCAR right here, Coach's Corner. Top 5. If there's any question, man, you know who we got to go with number 1. Young Money, Kyle Larson, man. I mean, how can we not? On fire, 3 wins. I think if there's a guy that we go out and say can run good anywhere, it's got to be Kyle Larson. So I'll take him number 1. 2 for me, which might catch some people off guard. Christopher Bell, man, I'm telling you, this guy runs good at New Hampshire. He runs good at a lot of short tracks. He's already got a couple wins on the season. I think he's coming here at Iowa. He's got some experience there from Xfinity Truck Series, doing his thing. So I'll take him number 2. 3 for me, Denny Hamlin. You can't really count him out. Again, 3 wins. Horrible showing at Sonoma. Blew the engine, which I hated because I had him. And usually going to rebound strong after a bad run, so I'll take the 11-3. 4 for me, William Byron, man. William the Kid. I tell you what, I've been saying it. This guy's simulation racer. Comes in, I think he can run good just like a lot of people anywhere we go. Great equipment over there. What an iconic number. I'll take William Byron 4 in that 24. And we're Hendrick Heffy. I mean, how can I leave out Chase the Bulldog Elliott, baby? I'll leave him 5th. Maybe not his best style racetrack, but I tell you what, heating up. It's about time for another win, so I'll take him in 5th there this week. Dark horses, we're really not going to go too dark, y'all. Got to take a forward there. 6 of Brad Keselowski. I think, again, been heating up. Got that win at Darlington, showing up and showing out. I'll take him at RFK there at a dark horse. And Tyler Reddick. I'll take Tyler Reddick again, too. I think it kind of fallen off a little bit over the last few weeks. Not too horribly bad. Maybe this is when he turns it around. But, again, I'll take him there, in that 45 to have a decent run. So getting into the next segment of the show, the money line, baby, presented by Redfin Polarized. You see them. I'm rocking them tonight. The best polarized sunglasses on the planet. Again, Italian frames, Carl Zeiss lenses, made for the woods, the water, whatever it may be. If you got money on the line or a wall hanger, make sure you see it clearly. Again, with the best polarized sunglasses on the planet. Man, these things are bad. I'm getting ready to get another set. I'm getting ready to put in my order here coming up. I got to get another set. I need some play glasses, which these will probably turn into play glasses. So there's a couple styles out there I'm looking at, but make sure you check out that website. They're always throwing up some new stuff. They got some good gear, too. You see the hats, the shirts I rock out sometimes. So make make sure you're keeping up with that. But at the end of the day, whether it's offshore or on the lake, don't get caught without them, baby. And as always, live life fins up. We got old Will Hare hooked up with a pair of red fins coming in shortly, too. So you'll see him rocking it out. Couple decals. He might even slap one on the old Legend car, man, just to do it. You know, ain't nothing to it but to do it. Slap her on there, baby. But, hey, like I said, when you hit that website, you go to checkout, use code RubbinandGrubbin15. Save you 15%, man. Opening odds for the favorite, and I mentioned him. I got him second on my list. Christopher Bell opened as the favorite, plus 335 or 350, I think. Not great odds unless that's where you're going, putting all your eggs in one basket. But Kyle Larson looks like he's got pretty decent ones at plus 550. You go a little bit deeper in the field. You know, you run some guys that are all right there. You know, you got, you know, again, Hamlin, Byron, all those guys are inside some decent odds. But I look a little bit deeper back. You got Elliott and Reddick back there at plus 1,000. Chastain might be a guy winless this year, starting to heat up a little bit. You never know. It could be the time at Iowa there for him to get a win. But really good odds there on those two guys and a few other guys. Kyle Busch, Joey Logano, and Ryan Blaney, a couple Fords, has some decent odds. But look, man, when you look further back, Bowman, 40 plus 4,500. And that would be an amazing top 3 or top 5 bet. Those odds are going to be great, so we're definitely going to lock that one in. I can promise you that for sure. Follow us on social media, man. You'll see exactly who we lock in. Lawrence does a great job throwing them all up there. We do all 3 series that they're running. Been doing good, man. So the summer's heating up, and we are too. We had the 5 car to win there at Sonoma for plus 500. That did great. And we also had Michael McDowell top 5 at plus 375. Again, we took 2 Xfinity drivers. We had Ty Gibbs and we had SVG, of course, to win there. SVG odds weren't great, but, hey, hit a little something there on that. We were almost 1 spot away from having the dinger in that bad boy, too. So we were right there to get there and to make it happen. We were very close. But on the year, we're up 5,275 units, so not too bad. If you've been following us and locking it in, a little cold streak there. Maybe didn't start the year out as hot as we did last year, but we're starting to heat it up. And we got some good racetracks coming up to really hit big. But again, make sure you follow that social media. Definitely Twitter. That's where we all throw it up. Follow that, like it. Throw me some of your tickets, man. Throw me who you got locked in, what you running with, and would love to see it. So definitely make sure you're following us. And like I said, man, throw those little tickets out there. Love to see what you guys are running as well. So getting ready to get into it, the hard right turn. But before we do, got to give a big shout out to Lamar's Body Shop. 35 plus years taking care of all of Savannah auto collision needs, the best in the business in the Savannah area. 2301 Skidaway Road, kind of a hop, skip, and a jump away from Coaches. So you can drop the car, come up here to Coaches, eat some lunch, go back, estimate to be done, pick the car up and roll out, baby. Lamar and his team do a great job, not cutting any corners on you, man. These guys aren't going to fade the font. They're just going to tell you how it is, and either you're going to roll with it or you're not. But I'm telling you, best in the business, Savannah area, 2301 Skidaway Road. As I always say, don't settle for par. Go see Lamar, baby. Love you, Lamar. Good seeing you this weekend too, brother. Getting into the hard right turn, and this is something I almost talked about last week, but we saved it for this week. Data and NASCAR. We have come a long way with some driver data, man. I tell you what, the data that all these teams are able to see, NASCAR being able to see it is one thing, okay? But all the teams being able to see it, that's some bullshit. Again, excuse my language. We'll throw another $1 in there. That's some bullshit as well. I'm going to tell you like this, man. It's not fair. When you're a guy that's running 5th and you can look and see what the guy in 1st place is doing as far as your team goes, that's taking away all the skill and the finesse out of it. Okay, you can see the braking, you can see the gas, you can see the steering input, you can see all so much statistical data on that. I just don't think that's fair. I think that's bullshit, man. That takes away everything. That means, okay, we can see where we're running faster and how to finesse and this and that. Learn it on your own, man. NASCAR really needs to take a look at cutting that out from teams. Now, I think NASCAR should be able to see it for penalties, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But other teams being able to see what the leader's doing or a guy that's running faster lap times, I think that's some BS, man. Pull the stopwatch out, click it, and go, hey, he's just faster than you, he's better than you. That's taking a skill out of it to be able, with these guys that are some of the best in the world, to sit there and relay that data in and go, he's beating you through this corner, and this is where he's making up ground. He's a little bit out of the throttle here and back into it. And a lot of it comes at the car setup. I know sometimes you just can't do it, right? That's the only argument you're going to have. There is no reason why any other driver or crew chief or team should be able to see what another team is doing as far as statistical data goes. Braking points, gas points, turning points. That's just BS, man. That's what you test for. That's what you practice for. That's what you build your own car for. Do more sim racing, man. Go figure it out on your own. You know, it's kind of like, I don't know, I just think it's a cheap way. I just think it's a very cheap way to make yourself better. And I don't think as a racer you should be able to do that. I think racing is one of those sports that should be untouched, you know, kind of it's between you and the car, you know, and your team. Get it figured out, run better. So maybe NASCAR will take a look at that, but that's a hard right turn. We are done with rubbing. We are on to the grubbing. We got a nice little something that I hadn't done in a while up here, and these are a treat, man. If you haven't had one of these bad boys out of Coach's Corner, you are sleeping on it, baby. We got a little stromboli loaded up. I don't even know what they threw in here. Pepperoni, sausage, peppers, onions. Got the marinara to dip her in, baby. I can't wait to get into this. I'm going to tear this thing up. Again, if you haven't been to Coach's yet for food, you got to come up here, man. Some great eats. They will whip it up anyway as long as it's reasonable that they can in that kitchen. Great kitchen staff, waitresses, waiters, ownership from the top to the bottom. This place rocks it out, baby. So make sure you come up here and, you know, get you one of these strombolis because these things are to die for. And this thing, I mean, I'm going to say it weighs a good 2.5 pounds, man. That's pretty good stromboli there. Again, make sure you're following. We got Coach Carl DeMasi coming up with that DeMasi Sports Report right behind me. Love the coach. He's had some big news over the last few weeks, life-changing events. But, man, he's keeping you up to date on everything local and major league sports there. So make sure you're following him on that YouTube channel as well. Just does an amazing job. So that's it for me. Outro, baby. I'm going to keep it short. I got to go be a degenerate inside, see how I drew, see what we got going on. But at the end of the day, love you guys. Thanks for tuning in to Rubbin' and Grubbin'. Catch it here every Wednesday, 6 o'clock. Make sure you're staying tuned for the coach. Give him some support. He is going to rock it out, man. So love you guys. Till next Wednesday, stay safe. And we'll see y'all next Wednesday, man. Yeah, I quit after COVID, but I should. All right.